Hi, this is Scott from ZK Live Foods, and welcome to Ferment This. And today we're going to be doing sauerkraut. Now, sauerkraut is probably the most traditional ferment that we're used to, especially those of us of European descent. If you're German or Polish descent like myself, sauerkraut kept your ancestors alive for generations. It's also one of the easiest ferments to make overall, so that's why we're going to be doing it so soon in the series. Now, usually I just do cabbage and I do caraway seeds for fermentation, but I've been so excited because it's really early to the middle of the growing season. Things have been coming out of our garden like crazy, so we're going to be adding a little bit of chard today, which you can see me cut from our garden. Look at how pretty these are. I don't think we'll take too many. Maybe about 5 or 6 nice leaves. That'll give us plenty of beautiful chard for the fermentation. Okay, so now we're back inside, and here is what we need for this fairly simple ferment. We've got, of course, our ball mason jar that we do our fermentation in, our Celtic sea salt that we always use for all of our ferments. We use Celtic sea salt because it's basically one of the purest salts, and it has about one of the highest mineral contents of any salt. Himalayan salt is also a good salt. Redmond real salt we've used quite a few times. But like I said, as a company, we use Celtic sea salt. We just feel that's the best product out there. So we've got our vegetables. We've got cabbage, carrots, and our Swiss chard. And also you'll need a knife and a spoon, as well as a potato masher, and we'll also be throwing in some caraway seeds as well. Generally speaking, so you know, 1 medium head of cabbage will fill, maybe fill a little bit more than a quart mason jar. You don't really want more than that. So anyway, with that, let's get to fermenting. So what we want to do is we want to take the cabbage and core it, because you don't want to eat the woody interior of the cabbage. And then we go and we slice it into the size of what we wish. This is what we've got so far. You're talking around 1/4 of an inch thick. That's the way that we like it here. However, you can cut it much thinner or thicker depending on whatever you like. You can also use a food processor to make this go a lot faster. We're old-fashioned. I make my living off of several thousand-year-old technology, so I don't mind using my hands to cut stuff up. However, using a food processor with the blade type that just slices is very easy to do. Okay, next up we're going to add the carrot. Carrot really honestly is just for a little bit of color and make it pretty. Obviously there's some health benefits to the carrots, to raw carrots, that you get all the beta carotene and all the antioxidants, but honestly for this we're just making it a little bit prettier. So we're just going to grate it using the very small grating edge on the grater. That makes real pretty little pieces of carrot that we'll be putting in there. Since we're just doing this for the actual color, I believe that 1 carrot overall will do. So now that we've got the carrot here, look at that, how nice and pretty that is. That's going to make things look real nice. Add a little bit of extra taste to it. Probably actually make it a little bit more sour. Carrot has that tendency in fermentation to add a little bit more tartness because there's quite a bit of sugar in the carrot itself. That sugar gets turned into a lot of lactic acid. And our last ingredient, as far as vegetables are concerned, is the chard. I've already de-ribbed a couple leaves. All you want to do is just take the thick parts of the rib and put them to the side. These are also great for fermentation, and we'll do that as a ferment down the road, where we'll show you how to make a lot of crudités and things that are magnificent both for kids and for having guests over. But right now we're just using the leaves. So what we do is we just roll it up almost into like a big cigar. Slice it down that way. Slice it down that way. And then we just make thin cuts, just like that. Now this is going to have a tremendous amount of all kinds of vitamins and antioxidants in it. You've got basically 3 different vegetable groups in this ferment alone. You've got chard, which is related to beet, so there are tons of vitamins and great antioxidants that come in chard. Chard is really what they consider to be one of the superfoods that you can get. Obviously, if you can get it as fresh as we did, just right out of the garden, I literally 10 minutes ago, this was part of the actual plant. That's as good as you're going to get. But even if you can just buy this at a store, add this in, this is going to add so much health into your product. You've got the carrots, which again have all the beta carotene and the antioxidants that they carry, as well as the cabbage. And the cabbage itself, of course, is one of the healthiest foods that you can eat. There are some chemicals that are in cabbage to begin with that are called goitrogens. They can actually inhibit some thyroid function because they actually inhibit the uptake of iodine into you. However, fermentation gets rid of about 1/2 to 3/4 of the goitrogen, so it's probably the healthiest way that you can actually eat raw cabbage. So anyway, we're just going to mix that up. Look at how pretty that's going to be. All those greens, oranges, all the cabbage. Oh, I'm getting hungry already. Now we're going to add some salt. As before, about a tablespoon of salt. Actually, I've got a little bit more than I need for a whole quart jar, so I've got a little bit more than a full tablespoon in here. We're going to mix that together. Let that go. And we'll be back to you in about 10 minutes again.